Ranked has always been a game mode that I've never been a massive fan of before in online multiplayer games. It's mostly because to me, Call of Duty and games like it are more of those sorts of games that I like to play for fun and don't really feel like treating it like it's some giant competition. However, I do enjoy challenges, and that ranked button in the Black Ops 6 menu has basically been staring at me since the game came out now. I pretty much ignored it the whole time, but today I decided I wasn't going to ignore it, and instead I would try out ranked mode in Call of Duty Black Ops 6 to let you all know, for those of you that are still on the fence, if it's worth your time or if it's just a bad idea and really not that fun. Before we get into the video, be sure to subscribe with notifications set to all so you don't miss out on another upload. Alright, let's talk about ranked play in Black Ops 6. So before we really discuss the ranked experience, I just want to talk briefly for those of you who are unfamiliar with what ranked play is or what the point of ranked play is. Ranked is basically a mode in Black Ops 6 that is designed based around the Call of Duty League rules that are used in competitive settings. In ranked, you play in 4v4 lobbies and can play alone or in a group. The matchmaking of any lobby though is based on the highest rank sitting in the lobby. The main objective of ranked is to be the best, gain skill ratings or SR, and rank against other people. It's basically a purely competitive thing that differs from the standard Black Ops 6 multiplayer in that it's meant to be a competition more than just a standard public match. As you play, you have to win matches in order to earn more SR and increase your rank from bronze all the way up to the maximum that you can go. Going up in ranks earns you rewards, including things like operator skins and more. So let's talk ranked levels. There are 8 skill divisions in ranked, and they are bronze, silver, gold, platinum, diamond, crimson, iridescent, and then finally the top 250. Within each base division there are 3 levels, and you level up depending on how much SR you have. The more you gain, the higher you go up, but staying at your current level is not guaranteed because you can lose SR. At the end of each season, your rank is reset in a specific way. You aren't set all the way back, so here's how it works. If you're at bronze or silver, the seasonal setback doesn't impact you. So let's just say you ended at silver 3 this season. Next season, you're still going to be at silver 3 and can keep going from there. If you're at gold or platinum, you're not going to go all the way back, but you're going to start at tier 1 gold or platinum. So you'll have to keep going up from there. Now, if you're at diamond and above, you're going to start the next season at diamond 1. So there are 3 divisions above diamond, so it's not too much work. I mean, if you were already all the way up there, it's probably not that crazy for you. So at least you're not going all the way back to bronze or anything like that. Now, leveling up in divisions at a certain point seems to get a bit slower, and I was reading about this online, but basically there are factors that the game sort of tracks as you perform throughout ranked, and then it rewards you SR based on that, which will then allow you to go up higher or lower. The game sort of in a way thinks that you're best fit for a certain skill division or your projected skill division based on your performance, your activity, things of that nature, so it may not reward you as much to go above it quickly because it doesn't think algorithmically that you're supposed to be above, say, gold 2. Now, is this a great thing? Honestly, I don't know how I feel about that, and I haven't really gotten too far into ranked yet to feel the effects, but I can assume that at some point it's going to feel annoying to level up slowly when, you know, you're winning, you're at the top of the leaderboard, you're doing well in holding objectives and things like that. This is just based off of some stuff I've read about online and through forums and like Reddit or whatever, but if you've got experience with this, let me know in the comments below. I'm curious to hear what your experiences are. Like I said before, I haven't really gotten to a point where I'm starting to notice that yet, but I'm sure it's going to kick in at some point. Now, there are a limited number of modes that ranked play lets you go through, which are hardpoint, search and destroy, and control. I didn't really get into any search and destroy for some reason. I was stuck mostly with hardpoint, sometimes control. I like hardpoint, don't get me wrong, but I was a bit confused as to why the game never put search and destroy as an option. I theorize it might be because it could get more common at higher levels, or it at least sorts into higher levels more often than not. I'm not sure, maybe even at that point it's not that common. Now, most of the weapons in the base game are restricted, and the attachments and perks are as well, to fit in with these CDL rules basically. There's a lot of restrictions in ranked compared to multiplayer, so just keep that in mind. Like, there are some perks that you can't use, there's some attachments that you don't get access to, things like that. It's based basically on agreements made in regards to if some weapons or things are far too overpowered. It's a balancing thing more or less, and I think it makes sense to exist in the game. If you don't like the weapons that are provided though, I recommend that you try getting used to them more in standard matches so that you can get comfortable with them before you head into a ranked match. For the most part, what I felt about ranked was that in a standard sense, it's not that different in comparison to playing a standard match, at least in the core essence of what it is. Of course, you definitely feel like there's way more pressure to perform compared to the base game because a loss is really impactful, and so there's just more pressure on everyone in the group compared to a standard match outside of ranked, where the stakes are maximum affecting your win-loss ratio if you really care about that. A lot of the big picture with ranked is that teamwork is a big deal, but honestly, I don't really mean that by talking, because at least in the matches I got into, people don't really talk much, and I feel like you sort of get into a groove with your team, and it basically works itself out in the end. Now, the important thing that you need to keep in mind is that friendly fire is active. It's It's inevitable sometimes though. I have noticed that you might accidentally team kill someone, but you just want to keep that sort of thing in mind when you're actually playing. Teamwork is vital in the sense that you want to find a strategy with your teammates, and I think it usually just sort of works itself out. Some people use pings, some do talk every now and then. Others I think just sort of follow somebody's lead and then everyone just kind of goes along with that, but that's really where the teamwork sort of shows itself. In ranked, winning is far more important than KD tends to be. Now you do want a good KD of course, but you also need to play objective and need to actually focus on the objective. This is something that I found is more important and will ultimately help or harm you in your SR. I personally have always liked playing for the objective, so I was really happy to see that everyone was actually going for it instead of just running and gunning to get a higher KD. In public matches, especially like things like domination, I always try to play objective, but you notice that most of your team doesn't really care to, but in ranked you actually have to. And the thing with ranked is you genuinely need to kind of be focused and into the game to do much. I found that just being casual and sitting back, for example, like in a standard match, that won't really work in ranked. Instead, it's sort of the mode in Black Ops 6 that gets you to sit up and focus. That sort of feeling. It's like, all right, it's time to actually play this game and not just semi-play or whatever. You really need an understanding of the maps, the lanes in the maps, where you're supposed to go, what best sort of strategy is required in order to do the best that you can, because winning and doing well, it's obviously, it feels more rewarding and accomplishing when it comes to playing a mode like this, and it does affect you ultimately in your rank. You want to learn things like where people spawn, what tends to be the most camped spots, things like that. In Hardpoint, for instance, there are a few zones and each zone gets repeated throughout the match for as long as it goes on, so you tend to notice where the enemies are camping, where the best positions to sit and wait for enemies to flood in are, and you really have to think ahead of the curve and predict, like, for instance, I assume the enemies are not coming from the front since nobody's shown up in a while, so I'll hold the back and, sure enough, somebody's rushing the back. It's that kind of thinking process that you need to go through in this mode because the stakes are higher on your stats. Now, I played through quite a good number of ranked matches, some I didn't record, others I did, but honestly, I have to say, in some ways, it was more fun to play ranked than it was to play any standard multiplayer matches. I like standard matches because you can grind camos and whatnot, but in a way, this idea of ranked feels like the challenge that I personally enjoy more. I feel like when stakes are higher, I just tend to have more fun, and I feel like my ability to play and actually enjoy the game goes up. This is just a personal opinion though, because I've always been more of a fan of challenges, which might explain why I can't stop playing games like Dark Souls or whatever, but the idea is that challenge really gets me into the zone. The reason I was holding off playing ranked for so long was because I was like, maybe I won't enjoy it, maybe it'll just be too sweaty, things like that, but after playing it, I really kind of got into that zone that I get into when there's an actual challenge that's presented in front of me, and I feel like, in a personal standpoint, it's more fun this way to me. I know some people don't like to feel like they're in the midst of a challenge, or they just want to play the game in a casual sense, which is totally fine. Most of the time, I just want to have fun too, so I'm not always like thinking, hey, I want a challenge, and I always assumed that maybe it would just be like, just too much. Like, it's gonna be too much to the point where it's not fun, sort of a thing. But I didn't really experience that. I actually found myself having more fun, but that's kind of a difference there. I personally ran with the AMES 85 throughout all of this because my comfort zone tends to be with ARs, and I find that I just tend to be better when I use those over even SMGs. Honestly, I like the speed and accuracy that comes with the AR weapons more than any other class. The attachments I ran with were the Kepler Microflex, the Compensator, Reinforced Barrel, Ranger Foregrip, and Ergonomic Grip. I might change it later in the future. For now, it seemed to be working for me, but again, sometimes I play around with these sorts of things. It took me a bit to break into the whole system and get used to it, but once I got into a groove, I really felt like I was having a lot of fun and that I was actually thinking in a manner that made it feel like a real competition. I'm sure the higher up in ranked I go, the more sweaty and competitive it's gonna get, duh, but I think that your skill level does tend to go up with time anyways the more you play. This is what I've noticed. I made a video some time back about how to get better at multiplayer in Black Ops 6, and even from that video I made, which wasn't all that long ago, I feel like I've definitely improved even more in this game. So honestly, the amount you play, how long you play for, and what you're focusing on while you play are really impactful in the way you perform in general, not just in ranked, I mean. I never really played ranked in other Call of Duty titles before, but I figured I'd give it a go in Black Ops 6, and to be honest, I wasn't even gonna try it in Black Ops 6 like I said before, but I was just like, you know what, why not? No harm done, right? I want to see, how good I can be in this game and to see if I'll enjoy it or not. I'll probably be playing more ranked as I go throughout the rest of the season, and even into next season. I'll definitely start from the beginning with ranked, and I might make follow-up videos and things like that talking about the experience. I don't know if I'm gonna make it all the way up to iridescent or whatever, but no harm in trying, right? At the end of the day, if you're having fun, I think that's what matters, and to me, I had fun with what I played. Now, sometimes the competition might be too much, sometimes it's not your day, you get those days. I definitely get those days where I'm like, the night before I was doing so well in my matches, and then the next day I go to play and I'm just like getting shot at from like 50 different directions without being able to react. It happens. It's a video game at the end of the day, and like if you're not having fun, don't play. That kind of a thing. Do I recommend though that everyone tries out ranked? If you think of yourself as a competitive person, you're a fan of playing objectives more than just raising your KD, and you don't mind smaller team size and more competitive pressure, then I think you should at least give it a go. Ultimately, you might find yourself enjoying it more than you think, and you might find it to be in the zone that you're looking for. If you don't enjoy it, you can just stop playing and go back to regular matches and enjoy your time there for sure. For me, I think I can see myself playing ranked more, but like I said, I'm not going to be playing all the time because some days I just want to have fun. I don't really want to think about strategies and things like that. Can you do it as a solo player though? Thus far, I haven't found an issue with being a solo player. Is it easier with other people? I'm assuming it is if you have a squad that you're running with constantly, but ultimately I think the game is fine if you're solo. Just be a team player, you know what I mean? I don't think you'll find much of an issue with being solo. Personally, I think that if you don't know anybody that plays ranked or you're not sure if you're gonna have fun being solo, at least give it a try. Like even if you just play one match and then never touch it again, at the end of the day, no harm, no foul, right? Like there's nothing, like you're not losing anything by playing it or not playing it. But in any case, I'll wrap things up there. Thank you all for watching, and if you enjoyed that video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe with notifications set to all so you never miss out on another upload. Share this video and comment below what your thoughts are on Black Ops 6 ranked, if you tried it or not, if you're gonna try it, how you felt about it, as well as maybe if you played it in previous years. Do let me know in the comments below what you think about Black Ops 6 compared to Modern Warfare 3 or any of the previous titles that have come out with ranked in them. And that's all for today, folks.